Hey guys, it's Christine, also known as IvyWinter. Thank you for joining me for another Wedding Wednesday. I apologize in advance if I sound really stuffy. I'm having like weird sinus problems, like not a cold, just like, I don't know. It's probably just all the stress and all that good stuff that's been going on with wedding planning. So I apologize if I sound a little weird today. So today's video is going to be about your second or final vendor meetings. Well, depending on what your vendors ask for, but most usually have about 2 meetings. One that's early on when you meet them and you decide to go with them, and then another right before the wedding. And we are in the midst of all of our final meetings, and it is a lot, and we are busy, and you know, we've got about 2.5 weeks left until the wedding. And so we are getting the ball rolling on getting all the little details kind of put together and all of that. So I just want to talk a little bit about our experiences with doing a lot of this stuff, how it's sort of been going, what to kind of expect from some of these vendors and all of that when you're getting into that really close, you know, 2 to 3 weeks left mark. So first, this week we just had our venue walkthrough. So that is when you walk through your venue with your coordinator, whoever that might be. Usually the caterer is there. You can invite other vendors if you want them to be there. They don't have to be there. And you figure out the whole timeline for the day, and you walk through the space and figure out how everything is going to be set up. So what we did is when we got there, we sat down together first, went through the timeline. They asked us some questions about, you know, what is the photographer's timeline, especially for photos beforehand? When are they planning to have you guys in the venue? What time is your ceremony start time? What time did you tell people to arrive? So that they can kind of plan from there. I asked this question like, are you gonna do a cake cutting? Are you doing a bouquet toss, a garter toss, anything like that? Because they have to also get that into the schedule as well, so that they can really plan out the whole night and know when to start and stop things and all of that good stuff. That schedule I will put somewhere around here just so you can see how intense it actually is. It is a very intense schedule. Their schedule is obviously a little bit more detailed than what we actually need, but it's good that we can see it all because they are looking at everything from the setup from the very beginning before we even get there through, you know, the end of the night when they're breaking down. And they really break it out to the minute. You know, when is the ceremony ending? When is cocktail hour starting? Exactly when is it going to end? When are we going to tell guests to move to the next part of the wedding? It is really, really detailed, and it has to be because this is a really big event. There's a lot of vendors, a lot of moving parts. So your venue should be helping to provide that, or your wedding planner, or whoever it is that you have working on that. If you are not getting a super detailed timeline, you need to ask for one. It's really, really important, and it's important to know that they're organized in what they are doing. You want to be assured that they know how everything is going to flow. So that timeline, like I said, takes into consideration a photographer timeline, DJ timeline, caterer timeline, kind of all puts everything together, gives you an idea of where you need to be when, which is really helpful when you make a timeline for your wedding party, which I have to do, because it lets people know what time they have to be everywhere and what to expect. After that, we walked through the rooms, so we actually did the progression of the night. Here's where they come in. Here's where they're getting served, you know, drinks and water before the ceremony. Here is how they go up. Here's where we are before the ceremony, like literally every single point. Pointing out where's the guest book going, the card box going, memorial table, how is that going to be set up? Do we have any other decor items that weren't accounted for to begin with? What tables are needed? Now this isn't really for us, this is more for the caterer and the venue to know, like, okay, DJ needs this table, the caterer is gonna set up these kind of standing tables here, just so we can get an idea of the space, but they also know what they need to rent, which is really important. It was really important to be able to walk through because I got to ask a lot of my questions about where are we putting this and that, you know. Yes, we are going to be doing a cake cutting. Where is that going to happen? No, we are doing a bouquet toss, so like, let's not include that. Like, it's really important for you to be able to visualize how your night is going. So I think it's really important that both of you be there because it's a lot of information to take in. And so yeah, so that was kind of the walkthrough. That is definitely the time to ask all of your questions, like, how is delivery done for flowers or anything else? How do I get to court you? What day should I do that? When should that be done? Anything logistical should be figured out then. And then if they have any questions for you, they should be following up, you know, whether via email or whatever with those so you can answer those. On the same exact day, we went to see our DJ for the last time, and that meeting was to go over our music questionnaire, make sure the DJ has no questions about the kind of music we want to listen to, make sure he understands everything we're asking for the ceremony music and dinner music and cocktail hour music, even discussing, you know, is our first dance song too long? Do we need to cut it down? What exact minute and second mark do we need to cut it down to? You know, also dealing with final payment during that meeting, but really trying to make sure that we're all on the same page for the vibe, that they really understand what we're looking for, when certain music is going to be cued in, how we're going to do all of that, how to pronounce people's names. That was a big part of that meeting. You know, for people who are giving speeches and all of that, they don't want to mess it up. So they will ask you how to pronounce last names and stuff like that. And just generally make sure you're all on board with that. I think that meeting was maybe 20 minutes. It wasn't a very long meeting. Luckily, because our DJ was like super on board with our music list. Like he was just like, nah, I'm good. He was like, I got your vibe. This is a great questionnaire, like we're good. But there is a chance that your DJ might have some questions. They want to be 100% sure that there isn't anything more that you don't want played or do want played. Maybe that's come up since you created that questionnaire. So that's really important, just to make sure you guys are all settled. They also asked for a floor plan, which we were able to then give to them, so they know where they're setting up. They want to know where they're setting up for ceremony and dinner and reception, all of that, so they can get a vibe. You know, they played at the venue before, but they just want to know how the setup is for our particular wedding, because every wedding's a little bit different, right? It's not all going to be exactly the same way, so they don't want to waste time trying to figure out where to set up. They want to know ahead of time. Tomorrow we have our officiant last meeting, and that is to really go over the ceremony. We made some edits that we sent to her, but now we're going to really sit down together and make sure everything makes sense, figure out how long the ceremony is going to be, and talk about writing our own vows and all of that good stuff. It's to really make sure that we're all on board with how the ceremony is going. So that's really, really important for us. And it's important again for timing. Like, we need to know, is the ceremony in her eyes gonna run 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Because that actually alters our timeline. So we have to get that information back to the venue if it's longer, shorter, whatever it might be. One really important thing that you should always remember is that everything that you change or do is contingent on something else. So if you change anything in a timeline with one vendor, you need to let your other vendors know, because that can set things back, it can push things forward. They really need to know if there's going to be any changes in timeline ahead of time, because they literally break this out like to the 5-minute mark, so that they can be prepared and everything runs super smoothly. And that's why when you go to a wedding as a guest, you're just like, oh, and here's food and here's music and everything's perfect. But there's a lot happening behind the scenes to make sure that that all works out the way you want it to. So definitely be communicative. I have had so many emails going back and forth this week, especially with vendors, you know, trying to be sure where they're delivering things, any last minute changes. DJ needed to know what order the speeches were happening, and like all of these little nuanced things that we didn't really think about at first, but obviously they all need to know so things can go smoothly. So that's kind of what our experience has been so far with these final vendor meetings. It's a lot. There's a lot happening in these last 2 weeks. It is very stressful, I'm not gonna lie, but just remember that all of this is gonna add up to a really amazing day, and when the day comes, you won't have to worry about anything because your vendors will be on top of all of it because you've given them everything they need to know. If you have any questions about what to do in the last like 2 weeks of wedding planning, or just what to expect, you can let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, then like it. If you like me, then you should subscribe. I try to put videos out every week, though I will say in the next 2 weeks it might be a little bit harder for me. I can't believe we're almost there. 2.5 weeks left. We've literally got like, I don't know, a couple more videos left before it actually happens, and it's just so exciting. So I'm really thankful that you guys have kind of been on this planning ride with me, and I can't wait to like be in one of these videos when I come back. It's gonna be so crazy. All right guys, thanks so much for watching. Bye.